Everybody talks about enlightenment like it's the ultimate goal, but what if waking up actually destroys everything you thought you once were? Yes, the dark night of the soul. There are a lot of dangers to spiritual enlightenment, to enlightenment work. I've experienced a lot of these dangers, and although they're not really dangerous physically, they can get a little dangerous mentally, a little on the dangerous side. The reason why is because you have actually been sitting here and you have been living as a self, seated oh so comfortably inside of the body. Nice, cozy little body. Ah, I'm seated inside the body. And when that concept is destroyed and you experience not being inside the body anymore, or your actual nature as consciousness as the universe, things can get a little bit frightening. I'm going to start a little less on the crazy, flashy side effects, and I'm going to start at the very basic ones. So the first step is morality. You will have, or you can have, not everyone will have all of these things, by the way. These are just some of the experiences that I have had in my life with enlightenment. You will experience a morality check, a checkup from the neck up. If you have been particularly selfish for a lot of your life, or you've done a lot of bad things in your life, and they've been suppressed and you've been pushing them down and you're continuing to do these bad things, you haven't really reflected, enlightenment can sometimes push this to the surface. And it can make you very aware of all of the bad things that you've done in your life. And this can be traumatizing and scary to some people. It can really just hold a mirror in front of your face and make you confront that man or woman dead on when you've been hiding from that man or woman for so long. This is because when you witness the beauty of everything that is happening around you, when you have this all moment that you are everything and everyone, you realize that everything and everyone that you've hurt is ultimately yourself. And when you've been hurting all these people, you're super hyper vigilant of the pain and the trauma, and you're very empathic with all of these people, animals, the environment, whatsoever. And you can become hyper aware of like how you need to spread love and how you've been lacking love, because enlightenment will show you love and it will show you care like you've never cared before. You might think that something you've done in the past hasn't really hurt someone, but it really could have. And with love, this love and consciousness that you experience of like the universe uniting, it just will make you really empathetic, that to levels that you haven't been before. So you're going to want to make sure that you are prepared for this to happen. And it's well worth it. And I know you don't want to continue being a bad person, not saying you are, but doing bad things for the rest of your life. But it can definitely be a total slap in the face to realize this. Okay, probably the next intense danger of enlightenment and experience that you can have is the bodily sensations. Again, this is not for everyone, but the bodily sensations in the beginning can be super, super uncomfortable. And I'm talking about leaving your body. But this is a lot different of a leaving your body than you would think leaving your body is. Like if you've seen it in the movies or read about it or heard about people's trip stories where they like their soul left their body and they were hovering, or if they were astral projecting, it's like almost their soul left their body and like their soul is like up here somewhere and they're like looking down. So it's like they've left their flesh, but like they're still an entity of some kind flying around. And not a lot of enlightenment coaches actually talk about this, what the feeling of leaving your body is, because what I just described, that's not what leaving your body on enlightenment is at all. Those things I just said, that's like leaving your body, but still being some sort of like entity or like ghost somewhere when you're having these like trippy experiences on psychedelics or lucid dreaming or astral projection or whatever. But when you experience enlightenment, and it's going to be hard to understand this if you never have before, you don't just shrink to the size of a point, like a penny, like an atom or something like that. You are completely wiped from all of existence, and there is no trace of you left. So you might imagine like, oh, like you're thrown and then like kind of dissolved, but like somewhere there's like still like an essence of you going on. And the most terrifying thing to experience, and that's why, like, people can, like, freak out or, like, panic or, like, have an unpleasant experience is because you are nowhere to be found. Disappearing from the inside of your body is not something you have ever done before in your entire life, and you've been living 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, however old you are, inside of this body comfortably, and to leave it and experience almost like a a corpse without anyone inhabiting it anymore, and you can't even, like, grasp onto the air or, like, find yourself in the corner of the room or anything like that. Like, more out of your body than, like, a fish out of water. You're just you're like, you can't find it anywhere, and you're panicking, and you're grabbing, and you're looking, and you're hyperventilating because it's gone. Like, it's like the deafening silence of the void is just occurring. And to not be inside of your body has also some weird side effects as well. Number one, if you're not inside of your body anymore and you experience enlightenment, you realize that all the little micro tensions inside of your body, like the stress in the head or the back or the shoulders that you maybe lived with your whole life and you never even realized were there, you're going to feel those drastically release. And you're going to be so loose, the body is gonna be so loose that it's almost like it's like, imagine if you were, like, calm, and then you're like, "Oh, this is nice," and you got calmer, and you're like, "Okay, this is good," and then you got calm, and you're like, "Whoa, like, I'm way too calm, like, my body's way too relaxed, like, okay, I get it," and then your body keeps going more relaxed, feeling more like jello, like, more like sinking in, down, 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 and eventually, like, it feels very freaky because you've never experienced, like, this level of like muscle release tension before. It can feel like your whole body is almost turning to butter. And this can affect you in a few different ways. And now that all the stress is gone from your body, you're conserving a lot more energy. So you're going to do things like, so things are going to happen to you, like you're not going to be as hungry and you're going to be freaking out. You're going to be a little freaked out and wondering why you're not hungry or why you're not eating nearly as much or why you like can't seem to feel hungry at all. And that's because food primarily, like, for a lot of people, food is like a stress reliever, and that's why they have, like, such an appetite, and they're almost addicted to it. Even if they're only eating 3 meals a day, you don't realize how, like, addicted and, like, euphoric it is to eat. But once all that stress is gone from your mind, you don't need any, like, fuel for that addiction anymore, and your body actually recognizes that, and because your body recognizes that, you literally don't really experience hunger at all in the same way. I know for me, sometimes I would almost, like, eat because I knew, like, I had to when I was in my enlightenment state, but I was, like, making sure it was still something I had to do, but I did not experience hunger really, like, at all. Another thing that this whole body relaxation, leaving your body feeling can give turbulence to is sleeping because, like I said, for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you have been sleeping inside your body. You put the body to sleep being inside of it. And this will sound weird to people who have not experienced enlightenment, but that's how you've known. That's how you've known how to sleep. You put the body to sleep by being inside of it. But when you're not inside of the body anymore, it's almost like you have to put the body to sleep without being in it anymore. And if you can kind of imagine what that would be like, how uncomfortable that would be, to almost like, it's like the feeling of almost having to put a pet to sleep that isn't yours anymore. That's a really sometimes freaky and eerie feeling to have to put your body to sleep. So I had some trouble with sleep because I had to get used to that feeling during my experiences. And another thing would be that I would sleep a lot less, and that would kind of freak me out because when all the stress was gone, because I wasn't inside of my body anymore, and I felt all of my like muscle tension release entirely to like an extremely drastic degree, you don't realize how much energy you're burning throughout the day, just like stressing and thinking and being an ego inside of the head. And once you go outside of the head, or not outside, but once you disappear and you're no longer in there anymore, I mean, that just literally conserves like a huge gateway of energy that you never knew you had access to. So that results in not being as tired at the end of the day, your body not needing to recover as much as it does physiologically, which means that your new full night of sleep might be 4 hours, 5 hours, even 3 hours. And you might get a little freaked out because you'll wake up like fully well rested after like 4 hours of sleep. And you'll be like, oh my God, like there has to be something wrong with me. Like I need to see a doctor. There must be something wrong with me. Like I must be like tripping or in psychosis right now. Because why, when I needed 9 hours of sleep to even be able to function, do I feel like completely awake and alive off of like 4 hours? Like, am I in some manic state? Like, is there something wrong with my body? So a lot of those instances will happen as well. Another thing, another freaky incidents that could happen to you is you could just feel like you're losing your mind in general because all of your concepts that you have held on to for years and years and years start breaking down in your mind. These things are, you're realizing they weren't actually real. They're all just concepts, conceptual ideas in your head. And once they break down, you could feel like you're starting to go insane. And for example, the concept that you are like a human, the concept that you are located on planet Earth, the concept that you're like located even inside of a cosmos or a universe, the concept that you live in the year 2020, whatever. All of those concepts will break down. You'll realize that you are consciousness, which means you're not a human anymore. You realize that you don't exist anywhere, which means that you're not even the universe. The universe is just almost like a hallucination of consciousness. You're realizing that this isn't happening at any particular time at all or any particular year. So you'll feel like there's no more solidity that you live in modern day anymore. You'll realize like there's no difference between the time you're living at right now versus when the dinosaurs were living or versus when like the sun will explode billions of years from now. And when all these physical concepts start to like physically break down in your brain, it can be very uncomfortable and making you feel like you're going insane. And I think the last one I want to talk about is something that is probably the most difficult pill to really swallow. It's not a great experience to have, but if you're scared of it, it means that you haven't fully seen it yet. Because if you fully have experienced it, it'll be a beautiful thing. But in the beginning, to the ego specifically, it's very terrifying. And this is the concept of other people. The fact that there's other humans inhabiting their bodies, or other animals inhabiting their bodies, or any other sentient creature outside of this current bubble of consciousness you're in, that can start to break down, and you're almost trying to grasp onto these things because you almost want to go to someone to like make sure that they're having the same current experience that you're having, that they're not just like images in the mind or hallucinations or anything like that. You want to shake a person's body and be like, there is an entity that I love inside of that body. When in reality, enlightenment will show you that like all these bodies are hollow and they're just walking around on their own without like someone inside of them controlling them. It's almost like the universe is puppeting all of these bodies. You might have an experience, for example, where you'll look at all your friends and family, and instead of seeing them in their eyes, you might see that almost like their body is hollow, and that their body and the way and their talking is almost being puppeted by the universe. Like the universe is literally using all of your loved ones' bodies as puppets. You could see how that could be frightening. Now, when you go a little further than this, yes, you'll realize that there is really only one consciousness. But if you're saying, oh my God, I'm the only one here, I'm all alone, then you haven't fully gone all the way yet. Remember, you don't exist either. So it's not like you are alone and everyone else doesn't exist. It's more that there is one bubble of consciousness that has nothing to do with you. It's imagining, yes, it's imagining everyone else, but it's imagining you as well. So in reality, it's not that I am one and I am all alone. It's that we are one. We are one thing. And when you like merge that duality together, you can realize that it's not that you're alone, it's that you are everyone. Everyone is this one expression, one bubble of consciousness. You can actually merge with everyone. And that's a little bit more further of an insight that you have to have. And that's when things start to get very beautiful. But until then, it's very, 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 very scary. And enlightenment can also do some simpler things which seem negative at first, but like really aren't actually. Like you can lose a lot of your motivation for things because when you're using your dopamine reward system and you're constantly achieving goal and achieving goals and achieving goals and I'll do this with my life, this with my life, this with my life, this with my life. And then all of a sudden, like you realize that you're like whole and there's nothing to do and you're already God in the universe and you're already consciousness and you can't get any cooler or better than that, then some of your goals will change. You might have a goal shift in what you want to do. You might even want to do something more morally sound or correct or something that's going to help people or animals or the universe more, which means like I said, a morality check. You might realize that you've been working for like some sort of processed food company that's giving poison to people, or you might realize that you're married to not so good of a person, or you just might realize you're not where you want to be in life and somewhere else, or like your whole entire interest or like moral system changes of like what you want to do. Maybe like where you want to live is going to be different after you have this experience. And so you're going to have a lot of friction because then you're going to realize, oh shit, I got to turn a lot of my life around and that's going to take a lot of effort. And now I see it and I low key wish that I hadn't seen it because it's going to be harder to change all these things in my life. And you're going to have to face that too. Now, what is the point of this whole video? We're doing this work. I don't want to scare you away. I just want you to be prepared for these things that could happen. Now, all of these things that are happening, especially all of like the trippier sort of things that I talked about, you're going to realize too that a lot of the problems with these experiences are not the experiences themselves, but they're the anxiety with it. So for example, like when you feel you're leaving your body, instead of saying, oh my God, I'm going away, I'm disappearing, everyone I love is disappearing, what's happening? Why don't you replace that with something with, oh, I'm not in my body anymore, which means that I can't die. I'm having the spaciousness feeling that's actually like relaxing and that's like relieving. And probably now it's going to come out of this is like I'm not going to have as much stress at work anymore. And maybe if I don't need to sleep, that's not as freaky, okay, because maybe I can get more things done if I'm only getting a few hours of sleep a day or something like that. So please don't turn away from your exercises because this will be the greatest thing you can ever achieve. And like, there's nothing else to do in life than realize like that this is all a game, that this is all a hallucination, that this is all a dream that you're having. Like that is like, what else is there to do in life? A lot of people think that in life, there's just like, oh, the highest objectives of life are just experience entertainment and like have a lot of sex and eat good food and get a good job and all that stuff and have money. Um, those are little candle flames. All those things that I just described to you are little candle flames next to an entire sun, an entire star system galaxy that you could actually experience when you finally unveil everything that's behind the scenes after doing all these spiritual exercises. And when this illusion all starts to fall apart for you, don't be afraid because this fall is actually what you've been searching for all along.